Well, I'm back. So my computer cut out. We had an energy power bleep that was strong enough that the lights flashed and the computer shut down and immediately restarted again and cut off the previous video. It seemed to have saved it in part. So it's my hope that I'm going to meld these two together so that I don't have to repeat the first part. Um, I was baffled by the sense of grief that I probably could have left things as they were if I hadn't had that sense of grief and or loss at this thing that had been removed. And so I wanted to look into it. I also was kind of wondering whether there was a final part of the process that, was I didn't know. And I went to, there's a shamanism group on Facebook that I was introduced to, and I went in there and I just asked if this was within, if, I gave them a summary and just whether this fell within something shamanic or not. And I think the general idea was no, because if it was yes, a bunch of people would have responded, and a lot of people, not many people did respond. So I thought, and in kind of discussing things a little bit with the couple of people who did, I thought, well, I should just draw cards around it. I was just curious what it was and why I felt grief around it. And so that's what these cards are about. So the first question was, what was extracted from me today? And these are the cards that I got for that. And a sentence that I created from this is a judgment whose acceptance sapped my strength. So accepting some judgment. So what I'm seeing here is the lion in the strength is kind of my vital energy. And since he has his mouth open, maybe even my voice to some extent, and that this legal decision was kind of that closing. This walking away with this Eight of Cups may even indicate some level of ostracism or exile, something like that. But it could also just be my reaction to the judgment. I could see that being the case, and I'm not super clear on what the judgment was. So that was my immediate thought, was it some sort of judgment that sapped my strength? And then it occurred to me, sometimes justice indicates contracts, so that it could have been some soul contract that had a similar effect, and that is what was being removed or cleared, literally, with it becoming clear. But I really have no idea exactly what it would have been about, and maybe I don't need to know that. But I explored further, so these were the first cards, and then I asked, why did I feel loss when it was gone? And one of the people in the shamanic group did say that, even if it was something that had a negative impact on you, if you've lost it, then there could be a sense of grief or loss. And then I also watched a video on YouTube about contracts, and there was a mention. It says, well, when you do end a contract, there can be some emotional repercussions, because if it was a contract with someone, then you are no longer attached to them in that way, and that can create a sense of loss. So what came up was this. So why did I feel loss when it was gone? I just think of this as kind of the scalpel, the scalpel that kind of extracted things. But, you know, there's hope here. Maybe there was a hope of understanding something. Maybe there was a hope of resolving something. You know, this can also represent, the Ace of Swords can represent problem solving. So maybe there was a hope on my part that I could, if it was a contract, meet the contract, if I could solve the problem. So I was maybe stuck in some stubbornness here. But mainly, you know, with the Star card, it's like maybe I lost a sense of direction. Maybe some sort of hope died with it. And I just saw it as a self-limiting belief that was also some form of protection, is how I was getting this, that essentially it was was tied to some self-limiting belief that again also was some form of protection from, like, this city in the background, the larger population. So these were all poppers as I was shuffling for this question. And then I did a final pull of, you know, at the end of shuffling, the natural end of shuffling, I pulled cards as well. And this is what I got, another ace. And then the Three of Pentacles and the Hierophant. And what I saw was that this was part of something that was being built, maybe, under process. And with the Hierophant, I was seeing a belief system. So what in the end I saw here with this group was that it was what was removed was part of some other belief structure that now is lacking one of its elements. It's not going to be complete. Something is not going to be complete. And I think that the belief structure is one that has been handed down. It's conventional. So it's kind of like I'm, with this card up here, I'm being released from this, but at the same time, as a result, I'm also being released from this. And there was some comfort in this. So I asked a further question and I didn't get much in the way of a response. I'm open to anybody else's interpretation on these things, by the way. So I also asked what belief structure is coming down. At least that was my interpretation of that, those previous cards. So what belief structure is coming down? And I got this curious set of cards, and part of me thinks that this set of cards is just kind of saying, you know, maybe there is nothing coming down, that coming down, that idea of some important Ace of Pentacles has been pulled out from under some structure, and then all of it's going to come tumbling down. That may have just been a paranoid delusion from, you know, a source of grief. That nothing's coming down. You know, something may have been removed, but nothing is coming down particularly. So what, I didn't get the Tower card here. So what belief structure is coming down? One of the things that struck me was that this central figure seems to be under attack from the front and the back. So it could be, the fact that I need to protect myself, with that 8 of Swords earlier. Yeah, I mean, this is normally considered a positive card. And this is, I would think for most people, mainly from the expression on the horse's face, that this is a negative one. But to me, this is also a person with a sense of mission. But I don't think of myself as being particularly paranoid. That is not something that people generally accuse me of either. So yeah, I ended up kind of wondering about this. And I see here that is this the first time that there's no majors? Yep, first time that there's no majors in these questions, which again led me to think, well, maybe it's essentially a nonsense or a false question in that nothing is really coming down. These are certainly 2 cards of change. This is a card of contemplating change. To me, this almost strikes me as a reason like why it needed to be extracted. but I didn't ask that question. So that's it. I won't belabor it. That was my, I don't know what, energy shamanic healing experience that hadn't been requested. It was pretty much demanded from both above and below that it would be done. And I have to say, although at the same time I have to give credit to doxycycline, which I've been on for a few days now, that after that happened, I did start to feel better physically and mentally, more than I would have expected to from energy work in general, or from past experience dabbling in it. So it may have been something significant that needed to be removed, and we'll see if it provides continued relief or any other benefits. But in any case, clearly both above and below felt that it needed to be extracted. It needed to be sifted out of me, collected and extracted. So we'll see going forward. And again, just decided to share it here, sort of a method of testifying, I suppose, and to get anybody's feedback on what they think was going on, what the heck was going on. All right, everybody, I will call it done and cross my fingers that I'm able to put these 2, I don't know, it might be overwriting. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, that I can put these 2 together. And if I don't put them together, I'll have to remake one. So eventually I'll be putting this with something. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.